This is a simple, straightforward, abstract angel design. The first step is to make a pattern. Now for me, the back of a legal pad is ideal. I prefer to make half patterns. By turning the pattern over and drawing it out on the other side, I can be sure that it's symmetrical. It can be difficult to draw along a thin sheet of paper, so here I'll use a series of dots. You can see that I've cut the pattern out of the cardboard and then made a permanent metal pattern. For me, keeping all my permanent patterns together has been very helpful. And when I want to do something that I've done before, I don't have to start from scratch. I can just go to my collection of permanent patterns, choose one, and get started. Here I'm using a pair of straight cut aviation snips to cut out this angel. Now if there's any downside to this angel, it's the fact that there is a lot of waste. This section that I'm cutting out right here. However, in an upcoming video on Christmas ornaments, I'll be showing how I use that waste. So in the end, there really is very little waste. Since this metal is relatively soft, I can smooth out any rough edges on the wire wheel. And now on to forming the angel. But first, I want to anneal the copper. This will soften the copper, make it more pliable and easier to form. If you'll notice, I run the torch back and forth, being careful not to stay in one place too long so I don't burn a hole in the metal. This is especially important on the thinner edges. Now that the copper has cooled, I can start forming on this 2x4. Now it is a bit easier if you have a stump which has been dished out. But in case you don't, it can be done quite nicely with just the 2x4. When the copper gets too stiff to form, then it's time to anneal again. And this is definitely a trial and error process. I keep working at it until I get the results that I want. And there's also a time consideration factor. How much time do you or I want to spend on making this angel? If we want to spend the time, we can get this very smooth and even planish it, bringing it up to a very high finish. This is a groove that I burnt into this 2x4 for another one of the YouTube videos. Here I can use this groove to help form the wings. Although not shown in this video, I'll anneal this angel 2 or even 3 times before I'm finished. When I find these hammer strokes not having much effect, that tells me that the copper is hardening up, and I will need to anneal, soften it, and go back to forming. Now that I have the angel formed, I can add these circles. These give the effect of the head and the halo. These are made with 8-gauge copper wire. They're the same circles that I use for the magic wands. If you'll notice, I'm putting a lot of bronze on this joint. These circles could be brazed on with just a tiny bit of bronze rod. But here, I'm using the brazing for effect, as the bronze adds texture, form, and contrast. Brazing the larger circle on the back which enables the angel to stand, and also a place to put the tea candle. The finished copper angel that has been wire brushed